Hello and welcome to another episode of the No Huddle Football Podcast. We're back after a week off for the holidays. How's everything going for you, Ryan?
Not too bad. Not too bad. How about you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Finally took a week off work. Had a nice little vacation up in North Carolina. That was a lot of fun.
It's a good, great place.
It
North
was,
Carolina's awesome. I
it
love
was-
it.
yes, it is. It was a tough decision to drive back. I almost just didn't want to come back. I enjoyed it a lot over there in Asheville.
Yep.
Was where I was at for the week. Kind of a good smaller town, um, but not too small where there's like nothing to do. So we had plenty to keep us busy for the 3 full days that we were up there.
Mm.
So, but enough of that. Enough of it. Vacation talk. Let's talk football. There was some news that came out this week that Russell Wilson was being benched. They called it due to performance issues. But in reality, we all know it's because if he gets hurt and there's some clause in his contract, he's going to get a lot of money. They don't want to pay him, with the thought being that they are just ready to move on from him.
Yeah.
So they just can't really say that, I guess. But you have Russell Wilson, that was part of the blockbuster trade. We also have Deshaun Watson, who didn't finish out the year either. Another blockbuster trade that happened recently. Looking back at those two big trades, we're going to talk about which trade, just based off of players and picks and whatever was given up, which one seems worse. We won't even dive into the contracts and the dollar amounts. Which of those two seems like was the worst deal? Did the Browns get a worse deal or did the Broncos? So the Browns, in order to get him from the Houston Texans, they gave up first round picks in 2022, 2023, 2024, along with a 2023 third round pick and a 2024 fourth round pick. And you guys got back the Texans 24 fourth and fifth round pick, but you had to give up 3 first and a third. Over on the Broncos side, there was a lot more players involved because you had Drew Lock, Noah Fant, Shelby Harris. But they also had to give up a 2022 first round pick, 2022 second round pick, 2022 fifth round pick, 2023 first round, and 2023 second round pick. So 2 first, 2 second, and a fifth. Looking back at those two deals, which one do you think is a worse deal?
Definitely the Russell Wilson one. Just because at least Deshaun has won some games, or at least put them in position to win games. Like maybe not himself, but at least was serviceable enough for someone else to take over and do something good, like the running backs or David Njoku or someone. I think with Russell Wilson, yeah, that's just dead weight. They just made a bad deal. That's just a bad business deal. That's all that is. Dude was past his prime, obviously, or is on a whole another level mentally than all of us right now. Like I don't know what's going on with him. Like for some reason something snapped in him, and he's just a different kind of person. I just don't think that meshes well with the NFL, or is like being some kind of leader. Like if you're trying to make yourself above everyone, like how it seems that he's doing, and then not perform, and then it's like, yeah, bud, you're kind of trash. You need this is a bad thing.
Yeah. So I'd have to say, out of the two, as it stands right now, I would also go with the Broncos, just for the fact that they're already cutting ties with him.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what did you get? You got 2 years from him, and you gave up 2 first round picks and 2 second round picks.
And what, like 8 wins?
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot for only 2 years. Now, if the Browns were to get rid of Watson, then maybe I would switch over and say theirs is the worst one because they gave up 3 first rounds and a third.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they gave up a little bit more. Plus, they put all the guaranteed money. But again, we're not going to factor in the contract just yet. So yeah, I'd have to say that the Broncos, that was supposed to be their guy, their Peyton Manning replacement. They went out and got Sean Payton to pair with them. They invested a lot.
Yeah.
into him. And for them to already call it quits after 2 years, there must be a lot of problems there in Denver. Like a lot. I mean, we can already see some stuff, but I feel like there has to be even so much more going on behind the scenes. And if they're going to cut them outright, now the whole thing is, are they going to cut them before or after a certain date, to where does all the dead cap money go into next year, or does it get split over 2 years? Either way, they work that out. I don't know what's better or worse. I don't know that they're really in a position to
Yeah, they're
win
gonna.
right now. So maybe just take the dead cap space for next year, and then you can start your rebuild sooner
Yeah,
rather than spreading it out over 2 years.
yeah. Might as well just eat it as much as you can, knowing that you're gonna be terrible and be hopeful that you'll get a couple wins
Yeah.
in, and then just like in 2 3 years when you're like, back to full sales. All right.
Yeah.
Like I know that you
Trade
want to
away
hear
some
that because it's like
assets.
hundreds of millions of dollars year by year, but still, it's like you doing stupid shit's losing you even more.
Yeah. It's like, do you want to be really bad for a couple years, or do you want to be pretty bad but for a long time?
Yeah. Or unless you're the
Just
Browns and you're really bad for a long time.
yeah, no matter what.
Yes.
Do you think, like, who, now that we know everything that we know about Russell Wilson, at Seattle, he seemed like such a nice guy, like a role model, awesome dude. I don't really buy many jerseys outside of a Bucks jersey. I was considering at one point getting a Russell Wilson Seahawks jersey because I liked him so much.
Mm.
I like their jerseys. I almost got one just to get one. I'm glad I didn't. Because then hearing about what kind of a teammate and a person he was, that he just kind of makes himself out to be better than everyone. And we see what problems that caused in Denver, issues on the way out, because it was kind of surprising that he was heading out of Seattle, but then it made sense.
Yeah.
Like, who is going to go after him to sign him after this?
Someone will be desperate
Like,
enough.
yeah, I
There's
definitely
always
think
desperate
so.
teams.
I mean, does it someone like Atlanta who needs a quarterback? Someone like
Minnesota,
Minnesota's going to need a quarterback.
New England.
Does Tennessee like Tennessee? Yeah, New England.
I think New England
Maybe.
would be good because I don't like if they do stick with Belichick, let's say
Yes.
he Russell Wilson would probably shape up because that'd be his last stop. If Belichick can't do anything with you,
yeah. I feel like that one actually makes sense if they keep Belichick.
yeah.
But although
Yeah.
there's all these reports of they're not going to keep him and whatever, if they were to keep him, but like I feel like he fits more of the Patriot way, the just come in, do your job, go home.
Maybe, but
And
remember
that's
he's
the
like
kind of guy he is.
But yeah, but that motherfucker
know?
had like his own office at the Broncos facility. Like he wanted his own office and shit. Like why?
Yeah.
He had some like weird,
What?
he had like odd demands. It's like that's was like the initial like weird vibe in the locker room. Everyone's like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like his own office? Like you're a quarterback.
Yeah,
We
what do you
have
need
an
an
office
office
with
for?
all of us. There's a quarterback
it's called the
room.
locker room. Yeah, quarterback room, the locker room. Yeah, you don't need your own what are you going to do in there?
Yeah, what are you planning in
Probably-
there, guy? Like shouldn't you share it with the other 52 guys here? The
Yeah.
coaching staff?
Probably do his high knees workout
Oh,
to himself.
unbearable human being, man. Unbearable.
Yeah. The worst. But yeah, maybe New England. Anywhere else, I feel like they're going to sign him. It's not going to work. They're going to cut him. Given what we know now, I wouldn't want, if the Bucks felt like they needed to be in the market for a quarterback, I think they're going to stick with Baker. But if they feel the need to be in a quarterback, I don't want to see them go after him.
I think they'll save
Let's
way more
just-
money and have more talent with Baker. Like more upside with
Yes.
Baker for sure, for way less
He
money.
seems to gel. He seems to gel really well with the team.
Yeah, and I hope he's the I know this is off topic, but I hope he's the deciding factor that keeps Mike Evans here, Because obviously they
Yes.
have some kind of connection,
Yeah.
So hopefully
Yeah, and not to tail off too far on that, but I see all the time people posting about, pay Mike Williams, pay Mike Williams. The Bucks this year, I don't think a lot of people realize they had a lot of dead cap space left over from their Super Bowl years, and Brady, and I don't know if Gronk had any of that either. Like, they just didn't have the money right now.
Mm.
I don't know how much of it frees up next year, but I think that's why they didn't pay him this year. I'm sure they would love to lock him up for. He's a crowd favorite that sell a ton of merchandise.
Yeah, I see more 13
Would love to
jerseys
come
than
watch him play.
anything. If it wasn't a 12, it was a 13 for the last few years.
Exactly. So I think if it's possible, if they're able to find the money in the budget for what he wants, I would say they would. Hey, let's get these couple people signed, and everything we have left, we can give to Mike Evans.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know that they want to sign him and then have no money left for anything else. Where it's like, oh, we don't have a quarterback, or we're missing 3 offensive linemen. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to go that far in, but I feel like if they can get something done, if it is possible, they will get it done. We had the controversial Cowboys-Lions game this past week. Ended Dan Campbell doing what Dan Campbell does, risking it all, going for it. And they drove down the field just like he told his team they would do. Puts the ball in the end zone and runs the play that they had in place apparently since before the game. They said, if we get into this situation, this is the play we're running. This is what we're going to do.
Obviously have the script.
We're going to send. They handed him the script before the game. But he said, you know, that before the game, he always tells them, hey, in this scenario, this is what we're going to do. And he said, I guess, hey, I'm going to run 2 offensive linemen out there, but it's this guy that's going to report. This one, not that one. 68 is going to report, not 70. But I'm going to send them both out there. Or maybe I'm going to send 3 of them out there.
Yeah. Smart.
And so he let them know ahead of time. The offensive lineman let them know ahead of time. And I guess the guy got it wrong.
The video evidence.
They ran the 2-point play. Yeah, it shows he went right up to it.
The guy goes
right up to the guy. Yeah, okay. I wonder if he just wasn't paying attention to like which one was talking, which is a very important detail there. Who is reporting?
Yeah, like maybe grab a name, number. I don't know.
Yeah. And you know, something I thought was weird, even if they say, oh, the other guy reported, do they not, and I don't know the answer to this, do they not announce it anymore? Like,
yeah,
I remember
right?
they used to always announce it over the thing, and they'd be like, hey, such and such a person is reporting as eligible. I didn't hear them call anyone eligible.
Yeah.
So for them to even say that, oh, it was the other guy, I guess they don't do that anymore.
I don't know. Honestly, I've kind of tuned that out of the games that I've been to recently, and then I never really hear it on the TV. I remember like hearing on the TV, not like often, but you'd hear every now and again, like player 78 is eligible. Like, why the fuck are you gonna put that guy out there as eligible receiver? But you know, for the formation or whatever. But yeah, you'd always hear it, and you just think nothing of it. But I guess I
didn't, because if they did that, they would have realized, hey, you got the wrong player. It's not 70, it's 68, or whichever guy it was.
But it's not on the players to be keeping the referees accountable. You know, it's like, hey, dude.
No, it's definitely not. But I'm just saying, if they would have kept that in the game, then that would have fixed the problem right there.
Yeah.
That they had although it would have been bad for them, because then they would have had to run back to the refs and be like, no, it's 68. And then you'd be like, well, why are they changing it? Why are they so concerned about which guy it is? We need to cover 68. But
at the end of the day,
unfortunate.
The fucking ref.
Yeah. They messed up that call. Did you see the video of the tripping call that they also messed up?
Mm-mm. There's so many this year. There's so many just awful calls this year, I think. I mean, every year, but this is one that definitely changed the playoff landscape.
But with that, though, there was also a tripping call on the previous drive where they called it on one of the Cowboys players, but it should have been on Adrian Hutchinson. And because they called it on the Cowboys player, it ended up being a penalty, stalled the drive. That's when the Lions got the ball back and were able to go down. So you could also make the argument that if they would have called it on the right person,
it wouldn't have mattered anyways.
It would have been like a 10 or 15, 15 yard penalty, whatever it is for tripping, first down. They would have just run out the clock.
Yeah.
But to your point, it's 2 very big mistakes that they made. And that crew has been having issues this year with getting calls right.
It looks like they're going to be a crew next year.
Yeah, maybe not. I heard that they're out for the playoffs or looking to be out, which is good because I don't think anyone would want them in their game because if you have a close game,
Yeah,
the
yeah. Can
game's
you
now
trust
in
him?
their hands.
Yeah.
No, nope. Listen,
Are you
I know that
unbiased?
the NFL will never, ever, ever do this, and I know that they'll never do it. But I still say, I really, really wish that they would make the officiating crew have a post game interview
Oh,
like they do with players and coaches.
yeah.
Like whenever you piss off the players, you piss off the coaches, and then you shove a camera and microphone in their face, and then you find them whenever they're still in the heat of the moment, but you
Yeah.
say, "Hey, you have to do that press conference right now. You don't get any cool off time. Right now, here's the microphone. Tell me what you're thinking right now when you've had no time to cool off. Oh, you didn't say what we wanted you to say. Here's a fine for $50,000.
Some arbitrary
I want to
amount.
see, yeah, I want to see a post game interview, and I don't care about post game interviews with players or
Same
coaches
shit.
or pregame. Like the pregame ones, I hate those. They're all boring. They all say the same thing.
Yeah.
You go blow a team out by I'm sure the Dolphins coach after they blew out the Broncos were talking about how they're a great team and they fought hard out there. No, Denver wasn't a great team. They played like shit.
They rolled
You
over. They did
know?
not fight.
Yeah, they did not fight. Don't tell me how good they are. They're not good. They at that point they were not a good team. Don't sit there and tell. But what I would be more interested to hear is let's ask the refs. Hey, why did you make that call the way you made it? Oh, well, I'm not sure. That's what I saw. Well, we've got a video replay. Let's all watch it together.
Yeah.
And then let's go over it. Why did you call that the way you called that? Make him answer in the heat of the moment. But the league will never do that because that will ruin the integrity of the league. But that would be so much more interesting
No, I mean,
in player and coach
what
interviews.
integrity? What integrity does this league have? Like,
Yeah.
I love the NFL, but at the same time, like, it is such a fucking clown show with just the way things like rules and just how things work a certain way for certain people. It's a clown show. I don't think the integrity of the game really matters. I think that would be hilarious. I think that'd be fantastic, especially because I know when they do penalties, when they call a penalty or something like that, they have a little book. They mark it down of like downtime and all that stuff. They write it down. So me, I'd be a petty little journalist. Like, yeah, excuse me, Ryan Oaks, Boston Globe, on in the third quarter with 7 minutes and 48 seconds left to go, 3rd and 5. What the fuck?
That would be funny if someone just did that.
Like, what were you thinking?
Yeah. I mean, then we could get some explanations. Hey, this is what I saw. This is whatever. But you know what? And what kills me is like they're all protected because we'll never hear from that guy. He'll never have to explain himself. I was watching a video and I actually sent it to you on just talking about bad calls. The one from the playoff game a few years was it a playoff game or was it a regular season game with the Saints and the Rams?
Oh, that was an NFC
Yeah, it was a
Championship
playoff
game. It was an NFC Championship
Yeah.
game. It was a
Where they lit
very
the guy
critical
up.
game.
Yes. And they lit the guy up and there was no pass interference. And like no one ever had to answer to that. No one's ever had to give an explanation. No one's done anything. The only we had years ago and we talked about this before, the Steelers Seahawks game. The guy came out and admitted, I blew some calls. I got respect for that guy. You messed up, but you owned up to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only other time I can think about is in baseball, where that umpire called the last batter safe when he was out, and it ruined a perfect game for that pitcher.
Oh yeah,
Remember
that was
that from,
that, I
10
think
years ago, something.
yeah,
8
that
years
was
ago.
he was a Tigers pitcher. It was yeah, and it was blatant. The dude was like not even close to the bag. Whenever it was like bam, bag, safe.
Yeah. That guy publicly apologized to the pitcher, to the organization. Like,
Doesn't matter
everybody.
though. Like that
But
one
I'm
doesn't
saying,
matter.
I'm saying like at least that guy fessed up and said,
Yeah.
I got a bad view on it. I made a mistake. I was wrong here. I'm not gonna sit here and try and defend my call and explain to you why it was right when you, me, and everyone else in the world knows it was wrong. It was a bad call, and I made the wrong call. and I'm super sorry. I can't change it. All I can do is apologize. Okay, at least he manned up to it.
Yeah.
But like these officials now, nope, they just make their bad calls and then run back into the locker room and haul ass out of there.
I'm curious.
No accountability, no ownership to it.
I'm curious. You'd think they would, like, them having a press conference, will say, and then making them be accountable would maybe lessen potential death threats these referees would receive by some rabid fans. You know, like there's a ref that, you know, like blows a game, or, you know, costly game. Like, let's say like there's like that again, let's say that Saints Rams game, right? Let's say there's some like fucking irate fucking Saints fan tracks all 8 members of the crew down and just kills them just because he's fucking irate. But like if they have an accountability thing, it's like maybe they could be like, explain what they mean. Maybe it may diffuse a lot of angry people, like they do and say stupid shit, you know, because they're fans. Like, they'll probably try again next year. If you did better the other 98% of that game, you wouldn't be in that position to lose. Sorry.
Yeah, that's always a thing too. You had many other chances to score when you didn't. You had many other chances to stop them from scoring when you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still a lot of controversy surrounding that game. And like you said, it did affect potentially playoff seeding, which could change the course of
home field advantage, economies. Like,
Yeah.
there's a whole lot of shit that goes involved with those, with who gets home field advantage, you know?
You have, because if the Cowboys would have lost that game, they likely would have been a 5 seed with a trip to either Tampa, New Orleans, or Atlanta, whoever ends up winning next week.
Yeah.
The Eagles would have been a 2 seed, so they would have a home game. And then, or the Eagles, they would have been a 2 or a 3 seed. And the Lions would have been a 2 or 3 seed.
Depending on
but
if
now
San Francisco won or not.
Yeah. And but now the Lions are going to be stuck as likely the 3 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Eagles go from 2 to 5, and the Cowboys go. So now the Cowboys get to host the game, and the Eagles don't get to host. So that, like you said, there's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That change hands on that.
Yeah,
so,
that's a lot.
The biggest loser as far as owners go would be the Eagles owner, because now they're in a position to not be able to host a playoff game and potentially multiple playoff games. Go from hosting maybe 2 playoff games to 0.
Yeah, right.
So what's all the revenue lost on a playoff game? Multiply it by 2, and that's the old money they lost from that call.
Yeah, especially if it's the NFC Championship game, like, you know, like every tier of the playoffs, the money multiplies, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, they would at least do one in the wild card round and then one in the divisional round. And then, you know, depending on what San Francisco does, if they get to also host the NFC, but they would be first in line if they slip up.
Yep.
So a lot on the line there. Speaking of a lot on the line, the Bucs had the opportunity to clinch a playoff spot. All they had to do was beat New Orleans at home. The Bucs, winners of 4 in a row, came into this game as one of the hottest teams in the NFL, and it just felt like they dropped a total goose egg on this one. Did you watch a lot of this game?
No, I didn't watch too much of it. But I mean, to me, it's typical Bucs. You know, like, yes, they're good. Yes, they have the ability to be very good. But when it really matters, the only time they're ever good was a couple years ago when things really mattered. They had someone who can get them through. This is typical Bucs. It was not like, it's not a surprise. Is it disappointing? Of course. Yeah, you always want to see your home team do good for me, but like, like, did you know? You could almost you know. It's part of the script. They got the script at the beginning of the year. Like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we're gonna lose right there.
Definitely makes for an interesting week 18.
Yeah.
You know, I was really hoping to watch some stress-free football.
Yeah, me too. Right.
Week. I was just like, all right, fantasy football will be done. The Bucs should have clinched. So I don't care what happens in week 18. I can just enjoy it for what it is And the fact that this year there are so many teams that are still playing. Normally, by the last week of the year, like almost everything's locked
It's like
up.
all but one or
Whether
two
playoff,
teams.
not playoff teams. Yeah, and it's just like, okay, there's like this one game that matters, or these two games. Like, there's so many games that matter this year for the final week of the year, which is awesome. I just didn't want the Bucks game to matter. I wanted it to be they were already locked in, so I don't have to stress out. And I don't know why. As a lifelong Bucks fan, I'm still going to root for them to win. I want them to make it to the playoffs. I don't see them as a Super Bowl champion team this year, which means them making the playoffs just lowers their draft picks for next year. And I know that, but I still want to watch them win. I don't like watching them lose. So I still want to see them make the playoffs. I think maybe this year I want to see it because so many people were projecting them as like a bottom 3 team this year. They're like, it was going to be Arizona, somebody else, maybe Houston with a rookie coach and rookie quarterback, and like the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And so for them to go and make the playoffs would mean something, would mean a lot this year. But looking at that game, final score 23-13. It was not that close of a game of 23-13 because it was 20-0 heading into the fourth quarter. They scored once. The Saints got a field goal, and then the Bucks got that garbage time touchdown with 1:37 to go. And then it was too late. Tried the onside kick, I believe, and it was over. Like, that was it. So they just, I don't know what it was. Just nothing was clicking for them on offense. The defense looked really bad. It just was a bad, special teams looked bad. Like, everything about the team. It was, I don't know. Everything was different about that team, and I don't know why. I don't know what happened. Like, what changed? Did the play calling change? I don't know what happened.
It just always seems like the Saints have the Bucks number. Like, like when it matters the most, like the Saints, like, we're gonna go ahead and just ruin this for you real quick. And I think, I know you said like people put them on the lower end of the NFL tier this year. I think you also put them on the lower end of your expectancy. Yes? No? I don't remember how we did the tiers. Gotta go back and watch.
I had them middle of the pack.
I'm so basically
middle of the pack team. Yes, right where they're at. The only thing is
8-8 and 4-4.
Yeah. So I had them at 8 wins this year, which they are at 8 right now. I also had the Saints winning the division, which if the Bucks lose and the Saints win, then they win the division. I said gotta put the Saints slightly above, and the Bucks are like right here. And right now, that could happen next week. It's the other way around, but it could easily swap, and then my prediction would be dead on. If the Bucks lose and the Saints win, my prediction of 8 wins would be dead on, and my prediction of Saints winning the division and being just barely better enough would be spot on.
So it's safe to say next year you're gonna predict the Bucks to be undefeated and win the Super Bowl, yes? just so your predictions can come true.
Yeah, I wish. I don't know. There would have to be a couple changes, starting with the coaches, before I would believe that can happen. I don't think they're going even close to undefeated with the current coaching regime.
Yeah, no.
But the Bucks crushed the Saints earlier this year, 26-9. So, and that was in New Orleans, and then they come here in Tampa and lay a goose egg.
Yep.
But I think they should rebound next week. Being that everything is on the line, you're playing the 2-win Panthers. You need to take them serious, though. Don't look at them as the 2-win Panthers and just say, "Oh, we got this one in the bag. Let's start getting the turf ready before we leave to go to Carolina. We're going to start prepping the turf for our home playoff game." No, you got to win this game.
Yeah.
Don't fall asleep at the wheel, and don't lose to the Panthers, because that would be a huge embarrassment. Panthers beat the Falcons, and who's the other one that they beat this year? The
Texans.
The Texans. Yes. So not great teams. They should win this. I'm going to have to stress out about this game now. Like I didn't want to do. So let's talk about your Browns and their playoff chances.
Yeah.
Do they feel like to you like they are the dark horse of the playoffs right now? Because they don't get talked about as much. I mean, yeah, people are talking about Joe Flacco
Mm-hmm.
But of course, I think right now a little bit more of the attention is on the Ravens being the division leader, the Lamar MVP talk.
Mm-hmm.
You think the Browns could make some noise in the playoffs this year?
I think so. I think they're steadily like remaining being hot at the right time. You know, they pretty inconsistent at the beginning of the year. In the middle of the year, they went, let's see, 5-1, and they had two losses, and then they had four straight wins, and then they play the Bengals next, which could potentially be another win. It's very possible. You never know, but a 12-5 record would be nice. I mean, I think I said 11-6 at the beginning of the year, so.
I think so. I think you put them at 11, which I thought was high at the time, but here we are. Here we are, week 17,
I
and
know
both
my
of our win
Browns,
totals
bro.
are spot on.
Even though I did not predict Nick Chubb to go down, not predict their offensive line to be gone, not predicted them to have 4 starting quarterbacks.
But you got that 11 wins so far.
Yes.
So far, we might be both 1 under by the time it's all said and done for our teams. If yours gets 12 and mine gets 9, we undercut our team by a win.
I think with Flacco on the team is great because obviously he's a Super Bowl winner. He knows how to get it done. He has arguably the best playoff, one playoff, playoff year of all time with when the Ravens won. He had arguably the best playoffs of all time. So I think that's good to have someone like that, very experienced, very knowledgeable, and playing within that division, especially if you have to play the Ravens at any point in the postseason, that'd be pretty nice. So I think it's going to be. I think they have a very good chance. They only really have to knock off the Ravens. I say it like that, like it's easy, but like that's the only team really standing in their way. I think, like the Chiefs. I think there's definitely some bad blood versus the Chiefs from a few years ago. Whenever they got that favorable call that caused us to lose in the divisional round, and they went on to play the Bills, and they went on to lose to the Bucks, and that was super awesome for me. But hopefully we do a little bit better this time.
So looking ahead, whoever they play in the first round, I think they will beat them because the Browns are probably going to end up as the 5 seed if they're not already locked into the 5 seed, which means they would play the winner of the AFC South. So if the Jaguars can beat the Titans on the road, the Jaguars would be in, but the Jaguars are not looking too good lately.
Yeah,
Trevor Lawrence is banged up. The team has seemed to kind of fallen off. Let's just say they lose. Then you're going to get the winner of the Houston Texans. You have a banged up CJ Stroud. I know he just came back, but still probably not close to 100%. Or if it goes the other way, you get the Colts. I think all 3 of those teams, the Browns can beat any of those 3 teams. It doesn't matter which one comes out. I think the Browns have got that one.
Yeah, I think their defense.
I see your Browns at least getting. Yes.
Oh, any of those teams for sure.
One playoff win almost in the bag right now for your Browns.
Yeah, and according to this graphic, they are a 100% lock for the fifth seed.
Are they? Okay, so maybe they locked it in this week.
Yeah, them Ravens and Chiefs are the 100% locks. Looks like the Bills and Dolphins are a toss-up, and then, like you said, the AFC South is more so leaning for the Jags. But it looks like Colts and Texans have a 14% chance for 4 seed, and then a 6 seed and a 7 seed. Jeez, I mean that's weird. But yeah, the Browns
there's
are
so
locked.
much that can change this week.
Yeah, for the 7 seed for the AFC, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams that could possibly get it, depending on how this week goes.
Yeah,
and some of them are ones that could be the 2nd seed or the 7th seed.
Yeah, I saw that. It's going to be crazy. I see that where they did their schedule based off of how the week, how the season finished out. So we have 2 Saturday night games or 2 Saturday day games. I don't know when they are.
I think they're
was it Saturday at 4:30 and 8:15.
Yeah,
I will be glued to the TV for all of that because you have the Steelers and Ravens. Ravens are locked into number 1, but I'm just hoping that they want to play just enough to knock out a divisional rival. Please, just knock the Steelers out.
Yeah, they still have a 20% chance to get in.
Plus, do the Ravens really want to sit too many people for too long? Because you're getting the bye week. So do you want to have a 2-week bye and then have to play someone? Like that feels like too much time. Like that.
Well,
We
let's
see
play
that
a
happen
half.
sometimes where people,
You know,
yeah, play a half, play 3/4. You know, play a good amount of the game, and just please knock the Steelers out.
Yes, no one wants to see him
Ruin the
there.
year.
It's already bad enough they're gonna have a winning record.
Yes.
Oh God, I'm so irritated about
2
that.
wins in a row. I know. Super annoying. Then you have the Texans and Colts who are playing, who will then have to wait and see what the winner of the Jags Titans game does. But still, that's basically a playoff game right there. Because if you lose that game,
You're done.
you're definitely done for the year for sure. Like you're out at least as far as winning the division title. See how everything else shakes out. So I will be glued to my TV on Saturday. All right, yeah, we're already talking about some of the playoff picture. Who else do we got? Over on the NFC side, we had the 49ers also lock in a number 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if they're going to probably also have some people sitting. I hope not too much. Dallas and Philly, like we were talking about earlier, they are both still fighting for that division title. So they'll probably have some good games to watch. Detroit, I don't know if they're now stuck in the 3 seed because
they're 98% lock.
Yeah, I don't see where else they would go unless they win and Dallas and Philly both tie in their games. Maybe might be the way.
I think tie would have to be that 2%. A tie is the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, I don't know how else. Cowboys, they have an easy game against the Commanders. They should win that game, no problem.
Yeah, they have a 77% chance for the two seed and a 20% chance for the 5 seed, whereas the Eagles have a 20% chance for the 2 seed, but an 80% chance for the 5 seed.
Yep. And I see we also have the Rams, who have been good as of late.
Yeah, quietly good.
They clinched.
Yeah.
And then you have, how many teams we have? We have like 4 teams going for the 7 seed. You have Minnesota, Green Bay, Seattle. I don't know if New Orleans could get in unless they win. Maybe they could. Can New Orleans still get in with a win and a Bucs win?
I think
they have to.
I think they have to go. Everything would have to go in their favor to be in. And there's no sliding in with any other way. They have to have it go. They have to win. Bucs have to lose.
Yeah. Okay. So this week's games are going to be pretty exciting. A lot more exciting than I can remember from any other final week that we've had in several years. It's like we were talking about earlier. Usually most of the games, usually 80% of the games don't matter at all. But I feel like a lot of these are going to matter. So I will, like always, be glued to my TV on Sunday as well. All the way up through the Bills-Dolphins game Sunday night. That will be really good for the division title. That's going to be an awesome game to watch. No Thursday game this week. So they didn't want to put anyone on the short week going into the last week of the year, which I think is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a couple Saturday games I'm fine with because I noticed they made them all AFC games. I don't know if that means they're going to put more AFC playoff games on a Saturday this year. Put like 2 of them on Saturday and 1 on Sunday. Give the NFC 1 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday to start.
Yeah.
Because they'll probably involve the Ravens and the NFC South winner. Well, next week, once the playoff bracket is set, we'll have to fill out some playoff brackets.
Yeah, for sure.
Who do you think is going to go? We'll have to find. I'm sure we can find a website somewhere that can do it for us.
I think ESPN has one.
Yeah. And then that way, once you pick your picks, it will reseed for you, since it's not, of course, March Madness style. And talking about playoffs, the college football playoffs were yesterday. We had Michigan, Alabama. We also had Washington and Texas. I know you watched the first game.
What?
Did you watch the second game?
No, I didn't fucking care. I did not care.
Okay.
I went through so much stress that first game, dude. Man.
That's what I was going to ask you about. How was that as a Michigan fan? I didn't realize they said they haven't been to a college football final in 20 something years.
That's the last time we won, and we shared it with Nebraska. The last time we outright won a national championship was like in the 1948 or some shit like that. It's been a long time for all those wins.
So was that the last year that they even went to?
They've never
national
been
championship?
They've never been in the CFP. The closest they've ever came to the national championship was in 2006, whenever we had the game. Whenever it was number 1 Michigan versus number 2 Ohio State, or vice versa, and we lost in overtime. It was like 43-45 or some shit like that, and that's the year the Gators beat them. But there was talk of them just saying we're going to replay this in the BCS championship. Like the Gators were almost like just cast aside for a hot second. Like, no, I think this game's gonna be better. But justice in the end. I'm glad the Gators beat the Ohio State.
Yeah, I figured. I was watching that game, paying attention to most of it, and I just kept thinking to myself, this has got to be super stressful for Ryan right now, because this game was really close. It was a really good game. Both games ended up being really good, it looks like. I didn't really watch the other one. I know it came down to like a final drive, but
yeah, I think
Michigan-Alabama game, man, it lived up to the hype of that game.
Yeah, I think both games went as planned as far as who was going to be the winner. I knew Michigan was going to win. I knew it was going to be rough, but I didn't think it was going to be that rough. I would definitely have to say for both teams, it was the most uncharacteristically like terrible game I've seen both of those teams have simultaneously. Michigan was terrible on every front of the ball. They screwed up. Well, I was not defense. I would say it was offense and special teams that was killing them. Defense studs kept them in it. The special teams dropping 2 punts, missing a field goal, missing an extra point, like. What's crazy is like special teams for the Harbaugh family is like a big deal. So anytime they fuck up on special teams, I'm like, how? So it's like, so that was super frustrating. And then just the offense like sandbagging it for way longer than they usually do. You know, obviously going into 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, we're like, all right, let's play some offense. Like, dude, like the mistackling, the fucking just letting Jalen Milroe just fucking do whatever he wanted whenever he was scrambling. Like, I know he's a big dude and he's fast, but like, you know, that's what he's going to do a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Spy something. Yep. But yeah, I was super pissed until that very last overtime run, whenever he did not make it and all the Michigan players going on the field. That's when I gave the sigh of relief when there's like no flags, no nothing, little tear, you know. Finally, yeah. You know, I just got one more to go.
Going back.
One more to go.
Yeah, man, them being down 20-13 late, they score that touchdown with 1.5 minutes to go. I was like, are they gonna get this? Are they not gonna get it? Like,
I knew once they scored and sent it to overtime, I knew we were going to win. But I didn't want Alabama. I didn't want them to defend first, like how it went. I thought that was gonna suck because I was like, man, I'm like, if Michigan can't keep the momentum, they just if they cannot keep this momentum, if they do not score first, that's not going to be good. So as soon as they scored in overtime, I was like, we got this. There's no way that defense is gonna break. There's no way.
Yeah. So what would you say your confidence is going into the game next week that your Michigan Wolverines are going to pull it off?
I think we'll win. I think it'll be like a higher scoring game, but I think we'll win. I think it'll be close, like 31-28 kind of shit. But I think we'll do it. Washington, their offense is good. That Phoenix dude, however you want to say his name, like that dude can sling the ball, and like we have great defensive backs, so it's gonna be a great test. You know, Will Johnson, our one defensive back, held Marvin Harrison Jr. to basically nothing in the game, so that's a big check, you know, you'll want to go into this game with, is that your defensive backs can do it. Obviously, defensive line can put some pressure on some people really quickly. But I think we'll be fine. Obviously, I'll be stressing out the entire game. So I'll probably just lock myself in the house and answer my phone, similar to how I did yesterday. I don't pick up the phone, not going to look at nothing, just going to, for 3 hours, I'm dead to the world.
Yep. keep your phone, keep that laptop away from you. You know, we don't want it breaking on the slam down if things go wrong. We don't need none of that.
Yeah, no electronics near me.
Nope. But I was looking at, I just did the math to figure out how long it's been, because you said that 97 was the last time that they went and won.
Well, 1-1, because back then it was just best record at the end of, you know, the time. Yeah, however they used to do it. Yeah, that was the last time that we have a claim to anything. Yeah.
So and then you know how far away that is from now, right? How many years that is? This is what
25 years ago.
What tells me that they're gonna. This is what tells me they're gonna win it.
24. 25 years ago.
What was it, like 20? Yeah, 25, 26 years ago. So that being your lucky number there,
hopefully
they got to do it. They got to make it happen this year.
Well, I mean,
we did long enough.
Everything else is aligning. You know, like the last time we beat Alabama was, you know, 24 years ago with Tom Brady in overtime and in that 1999, and you know, we haven't won the Rose Bowl since we won the national championship and Charles Woodson had the rose in his mouth. So
yeah.
Hopefully the stars can continue to align, and like I'll be happy with one. I'm not asking for back to back. I'm not asking for a three-peat or a dynasty. Just give me one, man.
Just one.
I have like
just one.
I vaguely remember this.
Yeah,
very vaguely.
Let me just tell you, as a Bucks and Gators fan, it is nice to get these championships in your adult years, when you can remember it better. You could watch a lot more because you didn't have to worry about what your parents are telling you. Oh, we don't got time to watch it. You're going to miss this game or that game, or you got to go to bed or whatever. No, you can watch everything if you want to now. So you remember it more. And also you've been waiting for so many years for them to get back. If they make it over the hump, man, it's so worth it.
No, I will cry.
Worth it.
I will cry. This is the only team. Of all my sports, like Browns win the Super Bowl, that'd be cool. Probably not going to happen, right? Would love to see the Rays win a World Series. That'd be huge for me too. You know, basketball could care less. Yep. Hockey, my Red Wings, they've done it all, right? We're fine. That's the only one I care about. This is what I care about.
That's number one on the list. Let me ask you this: are you gonna be loading up on the championship gear Monday night if they win? Are you gonna have a big giant $200 order in Monday night if they win the championship?
As soon as MDen, which is like the Michigan's, there's like a store in Ann Arbor that sells a bunch of stuff. As soon as the MDen posts their stuff, drop it in. Yeah,
rip.
I really want some Rose Bowl stuff, but I don't want that until if they win the national championship, right? Because to me, having a bowl win and losing, it's like, who cares?
You don't care.
But if they win, I will definitely want a Rose Bowl like shirt or something, just because it's the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. That's why people ask me, because, you know, a lot of people on my Facebook would see that I made it a point after every championship to be at Dick's within 15 minutes of a team winning. And then so people were like asking me, oh, you know, like for the second time around for the Bucks, oh, they just won the division. Are you at Dick's yet? No. For a division? No. Even if they got to the NFC, yeah, I don't care. I will, once they won the championship, I got my Super Bowl gear. I also went back and bought NFC championship hat, which I did mostly in spite of my boy Josh, because they beat his Packers.
Yeah.
So I would consistently make sure to wear that hat whenever me and him were doing our wrestling podcast.
Oh, that's his NFC
just
team,
so he could be reminded of it. He loves Aaron Rodgers. So he roots for wherever Aaron Rodgers goes.
Until this year, huh?
I told him, I said, what are you going to do this year? What are you going to do? Because, like, the Jets, growing up as kids, the Jets were his least favorite team. As a Dolphins fan, he hated the Jets.
Actually, he didn't start hating the Patriots until 2001.
Yeah, then it moved to them. And then more recently, it went to Buffalo, Bills, since they were the top. But I'm like, what are you going to do? And he's like, I don't know yet. And then, of course, they only made it 4 plays in. Yeah. So I always wear that NFC championship hat whenever he would come around. We do video just like what we're doing. That's how we do it now. But so sometimes I'll throw it on. Maybe I'll throw it on this week. But yeah, I don't want the championship year unless they won it all. Otherwise, that's just a painful memory now. I don't want to remember.
Hey, remember when we had
year.
this high and we immediately lost it? Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope. You know what? I would have bought some Bengals championship year if they would have won.
Oh yeah.
Being that Bengals have been like my number 2 team. I don't have any AFC Bengals championship year because that just reminds me that they lost that year. I don't want to remember that.
Don't worry, dude. When the Browns win the Super Bowl, I'll get you something.
Want a hat? Keychain? So, all right, let's take a look at this wild week 18 to do our final regular season 2 locks in an upset. I believe you said I get to go first this week. So with my first week, I'm going to try, or my first pick of the week, I am going to try to speak this into existence, and I'm going to take my Buccaneers over the Panthers. Let's lock it in.
They got a 5.5 point. It's pretty steep. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and take. Let's see here. I'm gonna take the Cowboys over the Commanders. Easy
layup of the week. Layup of the week. All right. I am going to take for my second pick. I'm going to try and go for one of these win and in games.
Mm-hmm.
And I will take Texans over the Colts. On the road, I'm going to take Texans over the Colts as my second lock.
Okay.
Make things a little interesting. I'm going to pick a hard game for my second one.
I'm going to take for my second one the Lions over the Vikings. I think they want to stomp a fucking mud hole in someone and go into the playoffs angry.
Yeah. I'm surprised they're only a 3-point favorite at home against the Vikings.
Well, I think they're already locked in. You know, like, would they really need to win?
Yeah, if they're locked into that seat, I guess so. All right. And then for my upset of the week, I am going to take another win and in game or win for a title. I'm going to take the Dolphins at home over the Bills.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to drop the Bills all the way down to a 7 seed if they lose.
Yep.
That's
I'm going to say the Dolphins this whole year, you know, they've been trying to prove that they can beat teams and they haven't done so well. They've only beat the Cowboys. I think they want to put one more important win on their resume going into the playoffs.
Sure.
And I think they need that because if they lose that game and they fall back to whatever 6 or 7 seed, have to go on the road this season, which they look like the hottest team at times, is all for nothing because we're all going to expect that they're going to lose in the first round then.
Yeah.
So I think they really, for their own sake, they need to go win this game. So I'm going to take them over the Bills.
Okay. My upset of the week is an interesting one because it really shouldn't be, but just based off the playoff seeding and the way teams kind of rest people, I'm going to go and take my Browns over the Bengals.
Yeah, I don't really see the Bengals as winning that game, especially
by that 6-point
starters.
favorite, like with the rest and everyone.
Yes, they're going to be resting Myles Garrett and everyone else.
I mean, it's a good chance, but I don't think they'll go that heavy for a 6-point favorite. Damn,
that defense is still really good. So that will do it for our final 2 locks and an upset. That'll wrap up our final regular season show. We'll be back next week, and for the next few weeks, we shouldn't miss any more weeks between now and the Super Bowl. I think we're both here every week now.
Yeah.
So with that, do you have any final thoughts for our viewers?
Go Blue.
Go Blue. Short and sweet. I love it. All right. We will see you guys next week.